It's been rather interesting few days. Bitcoin crashed below 60k yesterday. Altcoins are getting absolutely slaughtered. There are reports of World War III starting in the Middle East. So is this the end of this market cycle, or is it one of the best buying opportunities you may actually get? In this video, I'll be talking about what happened, why we had this pullback, what will happen over the next couple of months, what is the most likely scenario. And also I'll be talking about some low cap altcoins, especially in the AI space, which if you play your cards right, may easily get you 10, 20x or higher gains. I'm Andy, and this is Crypto Like a Pro, a channel where I talk about everything crypto, NFTs and Web3 related. So over the last week or so, Bitcoin crashed from around 72k, pretty much the previous all-time high, all the way down to just under 60k yesterday, and now it's recovering slowly, but still it's not exactly doing great. So what actually happened? Well, there are three reasons for it. Four actually. First of all, price action like this is perfectly normal for crypto. This is a pullback of 15% or so, certainly below 20%. We'll see many of those pullbacks in this market cycle. Pullbacks of 30% or even 50% are likely to happen. So this is just a pretty normal thing. And actually you can see it here that we are not in like a typical downtrend when we are just hitting lower highs and lower lows. We're actually just bouncing up and down in that sort of 60k to 72k range. And it's a big range, so it can be a bit scary when those price moves happen, but actually we are quite clearly just going sideways, just with a really big amplitude. So that's like one thing. It's basically, this is crypto. But there are like three main reasons for this specific move down right here. First of all, is the unrest in the Middle East. As soon as something unexpected happens in the world, markets tend to overreact, especially risk-on assets like stocks or even more so crypto, because markets hate uncertainty. It doesn't matter what happens, it's the fact that something unexpected is happening, and well, therefore everything dumps. In fact, if you look at S&P 500, that's been going down over the last few days as well, from its all-time high of around 525 down to below 500. So it's not just crypto that's dumping. The second reason is the inflation in the US. According to the most recent report, which was published I think last week, the inflation is actually going up slightly from 3.2% to 3.5% if I remember correctly. It's not a huge move, but it's moving in the wrong direction. More importantly, Jerome Powell said that it will likely mean that any interest rate cuts will have to be postponed. The market was expecting that interest rates will be cut in June. Now it looks like it may happen a couple months later. So as a result, well, the market did not expect things to happen this way, and therefore everything is dumping. So that's our second reason. The third reason, and the one I will focus on a little bit more, is, well, we're going to have Bitcoin halving within the next 24 to 36 hours or something like that. And although this is a bullish thing overall, in the past, always we had a massive bull run in the months after the halving, because Bitcoin is becoming more scarce, therefore, well, the price should go up. It's a natural thing. And also, of course, there's a lot of speculation. But this happens a few months after the halving. We'll look at a couple of examples where actually straight after the halving, the price either went sideways or went down and sideways. So price move like this is actually perfectly normal at this point in the market cycle. So before we get to altcoins, let's have a look at what happened in the previous two market cycles, just before and just after the halving. So basically at this point of the market cycle. So the last halving was on the 11th of May 2020. That's this candle right here, the little red one. So as you can see, we had a nice move up coming up to the halving. That was the COVID crash. So of course, things could have played out a bit differently if this didn't happen, but it happened. Price was going up. Then just before the halving, we had this big pullback from pretty much 10,000 all the way down to around 8,000, so about 20% drop. Very, very similar actually to what we observed over the last few days. Then we had very quick recovery, a lot of sideways movement with a little bit of a downtrend, and then move up didn't really start it until well into July. And even then, we had a bit of sideways movement, another dump to those levels right here. So that would be around 70K at current prices. Bit of sideways drop, and then the big move up started in actually late October. And then Bitcoin pretty much just went up for the next 6 months or so. If we zoom out, that's how things then looked, right? We had this massive move up. So as you can see, actually just before the halving drop, then very quick recovery, and then a lot of sideways movement, if anything, trending down a bit. And then eventually things started moving up, but it took a good few months for it to happen. If you look at the market cycle before that, so that's in 2016, the halving was on the 9th of July 2016. It's right here. And as you can see, we had this huge move up shortly before the halving, followed by a very rapid dump, then a bit of sideways movement. Then after the halving, the sideways movement continued, and then we had actually really big drop. Recovery, but nowhere near to the price levels at halving, and then very slow grind back up, and then things started moving. And once we zoom out, we'll see that actually this was nothing, because then we had this huge move up all the way to 20K, right? So now July 2016, it's somewhere there. It's pretty much invisible, right? With prices were below $1,000, and then went all the way up to 20,000. Of course, we'll not see that kind of move in this market cycle. That was at much lower market caps, and things were very different then. But it's another example that, well, just before the halving, the price went up, then crashed. Then we had sideways movement, then even bigger crash, and only then things started moving back up. So what I'm trying to say is that even though halving is overall really bullish for crypto, in the short term, we will likely see either sideways price action, or we may even see quite a significant pullback. So basically, I wouldn't be making any bets over the next few months that crypto will go up. I think it's perfectly reasonable to expect that actually we'll be trending sideways or down until potentially mid-summer, and then things will start picking up. Of course, it's impossible to predict the exact time frame. It may be much shorter, it may be a little bit longer, but if we look at what happened in the past, that's what's most likely to happen. Of course, every market cycle is different. I'm sure this time things will play a bit differently as well. For all we know, things may start moving up quite rapidly very soon, but personally, I would expect the opposite. Sideways price action and then move up. So what does it mean for altcoins? Because if you are watching this video, you're probably far more interested in trading altcoins rather than Bitcoin. So, well, first of all, altcoins got absolutely slaughtered over the last couple of weeks. We've seen price dips of between 30 and 80%. So if you felt a couple of weeks ago that you've missed out on the opportunity to get early in the market, well, now is your chance to either buy at a lower price point, or if you already bought some crypto, you can add some more to your portfolio at a lower price point and lower your average entry. Of course, at the same time, there's a bit of a risk because, as I've just said, there's a good chance that Bitcoin may go sideways or even down over the next couple of months. And if that happens, well, altcoins are likely to get hit even harder. That's the big thing about it, right? Bitcoin dipped 15 or 20%, altcoins got hit 30 to 80%. There is still significant risk if you are buying right now, but at the same time, it's pretty good moment to get into some of those positions, because if Bitcoin starts picking back up, well, you may not get this opportunity again. And certainly if you missed out, like I said, a few weeks ago, well, now it's a perfect opportunity to get in. I'll be focusing mainly here on AI projects and I think just 1 or 2 gaming projects. But basically it's the stuff that I've been looking at over the last couple of months. And as you can see, things like 0x0, only a month ago it was trading at 50 cents. Now it's down to 29, 41% discount essentially. And its fully diluted valuation is the same as the current market cap. So that won't be further diluted. So basically, yes, it may still dip, I don't know, another 20, 30%, maybe more. But at the same time, the potential for the upside is really, really big here. PAL is another similar example, and I'm starting with tokens with high market caps, sort of around 250 mil. But bear in mind that only about a month ago, those market caps were around $500 million, right? And yeah, that's down 55%. Very similar example. Then we have Ator, current market cap 190 mil. That's down 35%, but that was only 10 days ago. So yeah, not quite as big discount, but still pretty decent entry. Node AI, one of my favorites, was doing really, really well. And then it just crapped itself, 50% down. And yeah, that was pretty much all just over 2 weeks ago. And that was sitting at around 250 million market cap, closer to 300 million. Now it's down very nicely. And what's really important here is that very often you will see that tokens quite easily hit those sort of 250, 300 million market cap valuations. But after that, very often they will slow down, which makes perfect sense. I mean, it's not scientific in any way. It's just my observation that it doesn't take much for a token to hit that 200 or 300 mil. But beyond that, well, it takes a lot of money to keep that thing going, right? If a token is already sitting at 300 mil market cap and you want to even do, I don't know, triple your money, it will have to get up to around $1 billion, right? While if it's sitting at something like 100, 150 mil, well, it can triple and get to that 300, 400 million dollar mark. So that's why I'm really looking mainly at tokens which are around 100 million ideally or below, because they have the most room to growth. And I'll be looking here at a couple of projects which are around 20 million at the moment. And that's exactly what everyone was looking for in the last bull run, right? Tokens which are somewhere in that sort of 10 to 30 million dollar range. So they are not like completely dead-end coins, which you have no idea what they will do. But at the same time, they can easily do 10x, 20x, because, well, from 20 mil to 200 mil, that's 10x gain, right? To 300 mil, which should be perfectly achievable for most of those projects, that's 15x gain. If you can do that, well, that builds quite a nice portfolio, even if you were starting with a relatively modest amount. So these are kind of like mid-range projects, or the way I see it is projects which are sitting around 250 mil or 200 to 300 mil range. These are they're still relatively small cap, well, mid cap, but they can grow nicely, but they will probably not give you 10x, 20x gains. Maybe if it's one of those epic projects that will go up like crazy, but this is rather unlikely. Then once you get to those lower caps, 100 and something mil, that's when things can really start moving. So the next one here is Moontropica. That's only 67, 68 million, and that's also down around 50%. That's one project I missed out on previously, because if you look at the price action over the last 3 months, I started looking at it somewhere around here, then it just went up to about $50. So it's like, shit, I missed it. And then I was kind of observing it while it was bouncing up and down. Now that it's pulled back, I'm quite tempted to get into this one. Nice low market cap, can do really, really well. Palm AI, again, similar thing, 53 million. That's down about 65% actually. So that can run really nicely. And then two projects which are like, well, on one hand, higher risk, but at the same time have a ton of potential, are Condax. That currently sits at around 28 million and is down 72%. So if you look at the last 3 months, I mean, look at this. It had this massive, massive move up. And a lot of people were absolutely gutted that I missed it. And now it's down back here. So even if it goes back to this peak, that's straight away almost 4x gain from the current price. And of course, it will likely go much, much higher. And then we have ZKML, similar story, 25 mil, down 70%. Again, even if it only goes back to its previous all-time high, that's already 3.5, almost 4x gain. And these products, I think, will go much, much higher. So this is the kind of stuff I'm looking at the moment. Yes, there is a fair bit of risk that if Bitcoin goes sideways, these prices may dump even further. But at the same time, you can see that only a month ago, they were trading at 2, 3, 4 times the current price. So there's pretty decent chance that they will bounce back up. And these are the projects that a lot of influencers are talking about. A lot of influencers invested in them. So of course, it's in their interest to make sure that these products will do really well in the future. You may not like it that things work this way, but this is basically how crypto works, especially when it comes to projects with relatively little utility, relatively new projects. It's all about driving hype and speculating. Yeah, the risk is huge, but still not as huge as when with, let's say, meme coins, where it's all just purely about hype and there's no utility whatsoever, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm still very much interested in the gaming and AI space. I think these projects I'm either invested in them or I'm considering investing in them. I think they will all do really well. So to sum it all up, yes, when crypto pulls back like it did over the last few days, it is a bit scary, but it's a normal part of the crypto cycle. And we are still early. Bitcoin is still trading at a surprisingly high price, considering how early in the market cycle we are. So if anything, a pullback like this is quite welcome because it gives you an opportunity to buy either Bitcoin or altcoins at much better prices than only a couple of weeks ago, right? So again, it's all about being early, and this phase of being early is really shrinking rapidly. But as you can see, there are still opportunities to get in at good prices. If you just wait for this pullback, then it's scary to do so. It's scary to buy tokens when everything is dumping, but at the same time, well, this is how you make the biggest gains. It's not financial advice, but this is just how things work in general. And if you're not sure where to start with crypto, if you are relatively new to this space, or maybe you know a little bit, but you would like to learn more, check out my website, Crypto Like a Pro. I have some courses there, so you can, for just $29, start with crypto. The intro to crypto covers absolutely everything you need to know to start trading altcoins. You have all the information here, how to buy some Ethereum, how to set up your MetaMask, a wallet which you will need to buy altcoins, then how to actually buy altcoins on Uniswap, how to make sure that you're buying real token rather than something fake, or basically how to avoid losing your money in this space to scams and so on. So I think that's it from me for today. Yeah, times like this are a bit scary, but at the same time, they're exciting. This is when you can make the biggest gains if you play it all right. And as I just showed you, there are some projects which can easily go 10, 15x from current prices in a relatively short period of time. I'm not even talking about the market cycle peak, but next few months. But also, as I mentioned, the next couple of months may be a bit tricky. Prices may be further dumping, so let's see how it will all play out. But I remain exciting for what the rest of 2024 and 2025 will bring, because I'm sure we'll have a big crypto bull run over the next few months. So that's it from me for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.